Okay, that previous part might have gone a little bit longer than I had because I looked way too much more into the conversation than the actual timer. The mixed cotton stuffed animal was similar to him, but also very different. It said nothing and its body wasn't warm. Yet Risco practiced with it every day after day. Um,
一人芝居もだんだん虚しくなってきたわね。でもそんなこと言っていられないわ。律子、入った。こうでいいですか、マサヤさん。息止めた方がいいのよね。
I am lost for words.
ウサポンはどう思う？わからないよ、そんなの。
That'd be freaky if that thing actually was talking.
夜な夜なぬいぐるみ相手にこんなこと繰り返して。
But even though she knew that objectively, she couldn't stop nerves and impotence fueled her onward. He had realized certainly where she was looking. She would just seem stranger and stranger to him. She closed her eyes and waited, her lips puckered naturally. Would that look funny? But then maybe waiting for it that way might be a clear declaration of her intentions. When she opened her eyes again, her lips felt a bit warm. It was amazing that her imagination could produce even that kind of effect. No. Although I will say this, I have had my first kiss before. It was an unexpected turn of event, actually. Because, how do I describe it? My childhood friend slash ex-girlfriend pretty much randomly caused it. It was weird. We're in the swimming pool. She randomly jumped and pushed me into the water, then kissed me under the water. Then when we rise up, she was still holding on to me and kissing me in that moment. And then it went weird off that point. Like, doing an underwater thing going above it, that you can feel the difference between, okay, like, I was completely, like, what? She decided to put practice on hold and hug Lotto Bun tightly to her. When she thought about it, she got anxious. She couldn't stand it. When she got anxious, she hugged Lotto Bun like a child sucking their thumb. It was a soothing feeling. Even nowadays, she will keep Lotto Bun with her late at night. It was ridiculous to feel jealousy over something that had happened in the past. But the Messiah whispered sweet nothings to another girl made it impossible for her to keep her cool. Such a had never come up before now. But then there was a good chance there was something Risco just didn't know about. It's not as if she had known him all her life after all. Those at Faznes were used to seeing the same faces every day. That went doubly for those who had been there since primary course. She would have imagined that the appearance of someone with an unknown past could fuel such anxiety in her. The fact that he was a boy that she loved just made it more so. She let go of Lotto and pulled out her edition of the Loudmo Cartoon, the April 5th edition that outlined Messiah's history briefly. There wasn't a mention about romantic experience, so he did or didn't he? It was a dark, musky sort of feeling, learning that such things lived inside her surprised even her. It was if some disturbance to her heart's status quo brought them to the surface like bubbles. Just because they were buried deep didn't mean they weren't there. Earlier, Masai had said to her that he wouldn't let anyone else have her. She felt the same way about him. She wasn't sure what she would do after she found out, but it was better than the feeling of uncertainty she had right now. Even the stuffed bunny is awkward. The next day, it was Sunday night. We both spoke up at the same time. You first, Risco. Risco seemed unusually hesitant today. She sat for a few minutes, her eyes pointed down thoughtfully. Then she turned back to me as if making a decision. I just heard my cat. Right. Kate. Ukisibis, I don't know. I don't think I have. Why do you ask? Her eyes seem to glaze over. Thanks. It isn't what? Calm your nerves. Yeah. Have I ever done kissing? What does that mean? Oh. Finally understood what she was talking about. Strange it was what I thought it was at the start. No, I haven't. There was something very charming about the unbadged happiness on her face. Where did the fish come into play in his mind? Like, were we thinking about eating fish while we were having this conversation? Like, what? Risco wiped the corners of her eyes. Were you really worried about that? How come? Ah, I see. There was a dormitory system in place even for the primary course girls. So in a way, they were all childhood friends. Risco was raised in that environment, so maybe it was only natural that someone with an unknown past would make her feel anxious. That's why I had printed such a lengthy explanation of my past in a newspaper before. Of course, there had been very little worth printing. My part-time jobs kept me busy every day. The job that left the biggest impression on me was probably that tuna fishing boat. Yeah, we went all the way down to the equator. The captain was a fun guy. He used to make jokes that there really was a red line drawn there. My old man just kept falling more into debt. That's why I had all those part-time jobs. Well, with all that going on, I didn't have time for girls. Oh, you are a student of business. Beyond a doubt. That, and we're also too caring of people. Both the character and myself, physically. You might be right. Well, I do think I adjusted things quickly. I got used to life out at sea pretty quickly, too, except for one thing. Risco seemed very curious, but I wasn't sure if it was an appropriate story to tell a girl. By the way, Richko, do you like bugs?
いえ、決して好きではないですが。
See, in that case, maybe it'd be better not to tell you.
でも気になります。マサヤ様、聞かせてください。
Okay, well, there were bugs whose names begin with C that
やっぱりいいです。
she took her head quickly. Something about the exchange caused me to laugh. Risco smiled. Her earlier inoclonical air seemed to have vanished completely. So I ended up living a life without much female companionship. It was pretty lonely, I guess.
寂しいだなんて、そんな。
Of course, but now I have you, so it's okay. Is that all you wanted to ask? Then I have that question to ask for you. I pointed to my mouth. She seemed to know immediately what I was asking and looked embarrassed. Is there something bothering you in this area? Risco sat in silence for a few minutes, then spoke.
ですね。その勇気が欲しくて。
Courage. The words seemed to come out of nowhere. I felt a little caught off
クリ
guard.
スマスイブの日、私は今度こそきっぱりと断らないといけません。そうするにあたって勇気が欲しくて。
Understand what she was saying, but I had no idea how it connected back to my question.
マサヤ様、こちらに。
Risco stood up and beckoned me to the altar. I stood up to face her. She walked up at me, her cheeks pink. I thought she was going to say something, but she remained silent. But more color filled her already pink cheeks, as if all the blood was rushing to her face slowly. What is it?
練習したのに。
Okay, our character's getting dumb here a little bit.
頭の中が真っ白で。
What was going on? I already started to feel a little worried. I placed my hands on her shoulder. Let's go. What's wrong? Her eyelids flickered for a moment, and then she closed her eyes silently. In that moment, everything that had happened made sense. Everything from earlier attention to my lips to her standing here now, eyes closed and red-faced. My heart gave a leap. It was unexpected that I felt my head swimming, but I knew that Risco was waiting for me, and I didn't have time to hesitate. Besides, I wanted to do it too. I made up my mind, leaning close. Let's give a clap here. I feel like clapping. Nothing could have prepared me for the sensation itself, which sent signals racing all over my brain. Soft, slick, and wonderful. All of those sensations raced to my brain instantaneously. She finally pulled away, breathing heavily. She must have been holding her breath unconsciously. Is this the courage you wanted?
はい、合っています。
At least theirs was expected. Mine was an unexpected thing that happened. I don't even know why it happened. It just did. Risco stared off into space like she was having a hard time focusing her mind. Can we do it again?
はい、来てください。
There was something so cute about the way she stood there, eyes closed, lips puckered slightly. This time, I sucked a little harder. The feeling of our first kiss was incredibly moving. Yeah. Hey, Mandy. I'm in the middle of recording.
Oh, sorry, okay.
It's okay, I just feel like warning you about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry to bug you.
It's not really bugging me, I just feel like forewarning you.
Alright, I thank you very much for the forewarning, honey.
It was like Eyelids were all there was to me. The sensation permeated my whole body. Was sure how long we continued like that, I had lost track of time completely. At last we broke apart. Risco pressed her fingers to her lips, smiled happily.
やっぱり
Smiling happily.
感触はウサポンとは全然違います。
Isn't Lollabun a stuffed animal?
ウサポンを相手に練習というかイメージトレーニングを積んでいたのですが
That's
それだけ私にとっては勇気が必要なことだったんです。
yeah, I guess that's true.
結局練習なんか何の役にも立ちませんでしたけど、なんて言おうかあれこれ考えていたのですが、でも何も言わなくてもマサヤ様は私の気持ち分かってくれましたね。
I'm glad I didn't misunderstand you. I don't know why I paused there.
絶対に大丈夫です。次の時は決して尻込みしませんから。
I nodded.
それにしてもキスって素敵なんですね。
I felt the same way, but staying too long in a cathedral at night was likely to make us both catch cold. So I said it, the line that took all of my willpower to say. Should we head back for today? As we set off, I took Risco's hand. I realized it was the first time we ever held hands. I love you too. We spent the whole walk back to our dorm hand in hand. Luckily, no one was watching us. And that was the end of chapter 21. Oh boy.
第22話身の心に
Okay. I already know immediately. But I'm not gonna go into that.
リツコ、お前まだお好みマサヤと付き合っているの？もう正直に言いなさい。母さんには分かっているし、それに無理にやめさせるようなこともしない。大方、リセにでも頼んだのでしょ？
何を？
理事長への口利きよ。私にそれとなく言ってきたけれど、真意はすぐに分かったわ。職権乱用でやめさせる。そんなことするものですか？どうせ来年にはいなくなるのだから。
Seeing how things were going, Risco decided there was no point in remaining stubborn.
そう、私が好きなのはマサヤ様よ。
やはりね。まったく呆れるわ。あんな男子、北帝家にはまるでふさわしくない。
家と結婚するわけではないのだから。
シャーラップ。青臭いことは聞きたくないわ。
ねえ、お母さん、
はあ？
マサヤ様のそうしてもいいって言ってくれたから。くじの賞金はお父様の借金を肩代わりして半分に減ってしまったそうだけど、それでもこれってすごいが。
子供のお小遣いとしてはね。
Sorry, we cannot be in all rich families like you. It's called having a normal life.
あのね、リツコ。樫原様が一体どのくらいの資産家か分かっているの？ルリコの家、神谷財閥と匹敵するほどなのよ。
So she doesn't care about money, unlike you.
たかが5000万円など。樫原様は鼻も引っ掛けないでしょうよ。
ではその資産で万仙のを再建してもらおうというわけ？
悪いの？リツコ、お前だってゆくゆくは万世の理事になるのよ。確かに今のお前はまだ学生ではあるけれど。
How many parts are there? This is the fourth part.
万世のことも考えてちょうだい。
As she told Messiah, Risco intended to remain involved with business even after graduation. She had no objection to that, but she had no intention of sacrificing her own happiness to do so. It seemed to Risco that her mother was fighting a battle between outward appearance and inner desire. The outward appearance was the desire to see her daughter happily married. Risco had asked her father and confirmed that they had married for love. She was sure that her mother viewed that was a failing on her part. That's why she was so eager to choose her daughter's partner. Her inner desire was, of course, money. That was what her mother really wanted. But she was afraid to admit to that, so she needed the pretense.
金銭面の問題は解決しそうだけど。
何を言うの。
Her expression was so frightening, Risco closed her mouth instantly. What had her mother so worked up? Mother had been in business since she was very young, but so had Risco. She couldn't understand why she felt that way.
まあいいわ。今のお前の気持ちははしかのようなものでしょう。じきに目が覚める。
そんなことない。
That is true. That's not a feeling that you can get rid of.
お前は変わったわね、リツコ。前はそんな風に口答えすることはなかったの。
黙っていい子を演じている方が母さんは好きだった。
演じる？リツコ。
Even her mother seemed daunted by that revelation of her true
変わ
feelings.
るの当然だと思う。今の私は恋を知りました。好きな人ができて、思いも通じて。なのに変わらないなんて、その方がありえない。
まあ、どうしても火遊びしたいというのなら勝手になさい。卒業する頃にはお前もきっと目が覚めるでしょうよ。次の顔合わせはクリスマスイブよ。
Of course she knew. That was the day where everything would change.
なかなか上向かないわね。
After class, we had a society meeting, though there was nothing in particular to discuss. It was Monday, and Rice was looking at the news club survey results. As usual, she didn't look happy.
まあ、体育祭が終わっちゃうと、もう何もないもんね。ええ。シャンドノエルは？ただあれは歌を歌うだけなので、アソシアションが主導するようなものでもないので、それもそっか。
Chanted Noel.
クリスマスキャロルのこと。要するに、クリスマス会かしら。
Oh, a Christmas party. You never did anything like that at our old
男
school.
性のはミッション系だから。
Good point. Oh,
どうかした？
what day is Chanty Noel?
19日だけど。
See, that's good, since Risco has another meeting on Christmas.
顔合わせ？何ですか？
It seemed Risco hadn't told anyone about it. It wouldn't be good for me to tell them, I guess. Though I was sure she wasn't especially hiding it either. I glanced at Aika for help and she spoke.
隠すようなことでもないから明かしちゃうけど、実はリツコ、お見合いをしているのよ。ちょっとお見合いとか言って、今あんたら付き合っているんだし。
Yeah, she's been trying to cancel the engagement.
なんだ、そっか、ならよかったけど。
The three of them looked relieved. I was a little moved by how worried they were about me.
とはいえ、リツコの意思がちゃんと通るといいんだけどね。
She said she was going to turn him down flat out during their meeting on Christmas Eve. I think it'll be okay. Risco was becoming more and more courageous with each passing day. What I mean, of course, is that we kissed many times since that first night. The method had become a goal in itself, but neither of us was about to point that out.
ただ、相手がまた結構な存在なのよ。樫原清隆さんっていうんだ。ああ、樫原様だったのですか。
Oh, you know him.
その清隆さんという方は私は知りませんが、樫原家はというのはお父様とお付き合いがあるんです。
Well, what a small world.
というか、樫原家と言ったら神谷家と並ぶ財閥よ。だからではないかしら。
I see, a corporate group.
それもあって、お母様も容易には諦めないんじゃないかしらね。
I got about 50 million yen by my name, but
何それすごいじゃないなん
I hit the lottery.
あそっかそういえばそんな
Did
話
everyone immediately forgot the moment I got it? Like what? So I've got some real money for a student, but I probably can't compete with a whole corporation.
総資産数千億って話だからね
Ugh.
でもお金で幸せは買えないわよね
Most people don't want to believe it, but that is incidentally true.
そうだそうだチャップリンに有名な言葉がありますよね
I think it's more or less of what you do with it.
想像力
but-
とほんの少しのお金大事なのはそれでいくらお金を積まれても律子はきっとお母様だって本当はそれが分かっていると思うんだけどねああなるほど驚愕にしちゃえばいいと思うんですけどねそうそう簡単に収支買いもできないんでしょうね私も律子も結構不思議に思っていたものなんでああまで万全のにこだわるのかしらってそれは私だって学校のことは好きよでもお母様はちょっと行き過ぎともあれ万全のためには絶対に驚愕にしないといけないわよね
I scolded out the report. Poor hadn't gone down, but we hadn't gained any ground either.
じゃあ影響力はあんまりないかもしれないけどシャンドノエルで歌を頑張りましょうそうしましょう私合唱部ですからねビッシバシ指導して差し上げるわ
So after class, we borrowed a classroom and threw ourselves into rehearsal.
白百合会では合唱の練習を始めたそうですね噂になっていますよ
Talk of the school, really.
教室から歌声が聞こえてくると
Yeah, we borrowed a classroom for practice. Rice is in the choir, so she's showing us how it's done.
そういえば
Hey, Risco, do you know what the is?
恥骨
Well, it's just that's where she said we were supposed to sing from. I didn't know where that is. I heard the term previous before. When I asked, they wouldn't tell me where it was, so I thought it looked up. I'll look it up for myself. Risco, do you know?
いいえ私も
I see.
ところでマサヤ様は聞いていますかシャンドノエルではロザリオの交換をすることを
Exchanging rosaries. No, rosaries. No, I never heard of it.
コンフェッションというのですが
Attempts
直
confession.
訳すると告白の時ということになります
She went on to explain that attempts confession are part of Shanty Noel, which business's highest tier love confession ritual. Is there really a hierarchy of these things?
ありませんねまあ気分の問題です
See, specifically after the choir saying the couples exchanged rosaries in the eyes of the student body as well as God. There was to let the other students and God know that the two would remain bound together forever. Business is an all-girls
も
school.
ちろんクブクリンはお遊びですでもこれも連綿と続いてきたれっきとした伝統なんですよ
Maybe the fact that it was an all-girls school just made it more appealing. I remember hearing something like that during our test of courage in the Caroline over summer break too. You could erase the umbrellas drawn on the wall that are easily, but you couldn't erase people's memories. Making a declaration in front of everyone then was definitely another level. Risco smiled playfully. It was an expression I saw from her very rarely, and it was very cute.
私はお遊びではすみませんところでマサヤ様もこちらに入った際ロザリオを学校からもらいましたよね
Oh yeah, I had demurred at first because I wasn't a Christian, but apparently it was part of the rules, so I left it in my desk in my
そ
room.
のロザリオ私のもの
And
を
I gotta get to the new part, and I'm gonna do it now because before I forget.